Social media and live blogging and the internet in general are really outflanking the news channels. I mean, satellite news channels were a symptom of a particular technology, satellites, that came about 30 years ago and were transformative when they happened. But today, everybody goes to the internet when they want to find out what's happening. So for breaking news, for in-depth information, the internet can really provide you with a lot more sustenance than 24-hour news channels can.
I think digital's already had its effect on 24-hour news. I mean, if you go into the Sky newsroom, it's a pretty high-tech place. Everything is being beamed in by, they're trying to innovate and use new methods. But the thing is, there's still this massive infrastructure that they've invested in and they have to use. There's no way of getting around that. The main problem for them is people circumnavigating the thing altogether and just uploading straight to Twitter. If you can get better footage from a bloke with an iPhone in Ukraine, then what's the point in sending out two crews?
Every aspect of the media is being impacted by digital, including the major terrestrial news programs, but we should remember that they're still the place that you can reach the biggest audience at any one time. So on BBC One or on ITV, or even on Newsnight or Channel 4, you can reach a far bigger audience than you can at one moment than on any other platform. However, they're still having to compete with the internet as well, and they're going to have to evolve and change too.
Programmes like 10 o'clock News and Newsnight still have a massive place. I think Ian Katz is doing a pretty good job of reviving Newsnight, but the viewing figures show it. They're still watched by a lot of people, but they're not watched by young people, and you have to wonder whether the idea of a half-hour package that you sit down to watch to get all your news in one go, it just sounds outdated to most people under 40.
Some people think social media is dumbing down the news when they look at things like the kind of clickbait headlines on Buzzfeed and so on as well. But really, I think that's only a reflection of an old trick. It's what tabloid newspapers used to do, and Hugh Cudlipp did with the Daily Mirror in the 1960s. In other words, you wrap serious content in entertaining content in order to try and lure people in. So Buzzfeed has built a great audience off the back of listicles and entertainment, but it's now investing in international bureau and serious news coverage too. So I don't think we should say it's one or the other and social media is dumbing down. It's a mixed diet, and actually I'm excited by the fact that new digital dollars are going into news and journalism.
I don't think social media contributes to dumbing down of news. I think it's just giving people more of what they want. I mean, there's no way of convincing people that they really care about what Vince Cable's thoughts are every morning, but the news channels will give you a rolling commentary on that. Social media just rewards what people actually care about, and that's got to be good for news.
24-hour news channels are a very mixed bag, so some seem to be adapting quite well to the digital realm. If you look at Russia Today, for example, it has built up a very big audience on YouTube by putting in lots of small shareable YouTube clips up there and engaging with the YouTube audience very strongly. So that's built quite a strong presence on YouTube. But overall, I think 24-hour news channels have so far missed a trick in terms of integrating with the web and integrating with social media and getting closer to potential audiences in that way.
In terms of the UK 24-hour news market, I mean, we haven't got that many people, but Sky are doing their best by investing heavily in new presentation, by trying to update their format, but they've still got the same problem in that they can't quite get that edge on one bloke with a Twitter account in terms of speed, which is hitting them in terms of the number of people who are watching them in Westminster and other places like that. Well, the BBC is always going to have to cover things and major events, but if, say, there is a rolling news event, say a royal birth or a major crisis in politics, why not just switch the crews on at that point? Why do you have to have the channel rolling, trying to fill the time, regardless of whether there's any actual news happening? You could just turn on a stream as and when it was appropriate.
I'm not suggesting that 24-hour news channels should be closed down by the BBC or Sky or anyone else, but I do think they need to innovate more swiftly than they appear to be doing at the moment. They all market themselves on bringing you the news first, but they don't. The internet brings you the news first. And all of that resource and money and airspace, it seems to me, isn't being used in the most effective way. So I don't think they should be closed down, but I do think they need to innovate quite rapidly.